So you want to hit your New Year's goals, right? Everybody makes resolutions and then a week later you've broken them. I'm going to show you the secrets to goal setting. Let's get started. All right. Okay, the first thing you need to do is sit down with a pad of paper. Don't do it on your phone. You want that connection between your hand and your brain, and you want to write down everything you can think of that is a goal. So one is dream big. What are your big dreams? Now the next thing is be realistic. And what that means is you've got to dream big, but then you've got to say, okay, what's realistic? What can I actually do? Because like if you say, okay, I'm making $10,000 a year now and I want to jump to $1 million a year, be realistic. You're going to have to take that in steps. Let's determine the steps. The third thing is list all goals. And the fourth thing is prioritize. Okay, set a priority. So what you want to do is take your goals, list them all out, and then say, okay, what's the number one goal? The one thing that will move the needle in my life the most. Pick that, make that number one. Now what's the next thing? Number two, number three, number four, and so on. Once you've prioritized them, then you're going to do this. You're going to pick the 80% goal. What is the one thing that is going to get me 80% the furthest towards my goal? Okay, now next steps. Okay, now you've got your 80% goal. That's the one that you've got to focus on to get the most stuff done. But you need to list your other goals too because you have more than one goal. So list all 5 of them. And then what you want to do is say, okay, what is the next most important? You have number 2 is your second next most important, so on. Now the next thing is you want to be specific, and that has to be measurable. So what that means is you can't just say, well, I want to take a trip somewhere. You have to say, I want to take a trip to Bora Bora, and I want to take it in November, and it's going to cost me $10,000 to take that trip. And so that is how you make a goal specific and measurable. When you're talking about your finance goal or your big goal or your big dream goal, you have to make it specific and measurable. You have to know how much is that. Let's say that you want to make $120,000 a year. Let me show you how. Okay, so I used $120,000 a year because it's an easy number, right? 12 months in the year, $10,000 a month. So you want to make $120K a year. All right, so the first thing you got to do is you got to break it down into monthly, right? So that's 10K a month. And then you got to break it down to weekly. Now to make it easy, we're going to say it's 4 weeks in an average month. It's a little more than that. So you've got to have $2,500 a month. Now what you have to do is a weekly check-in. How am I doing towards that goal? Because if you check in every week, let's say you say to yourself, all right, I have to come up with $2,500 a week. How am I going to do it? Well, you have to define your steps of how you're going to do it, and then you need to check yourself against those steps. But you can even break that down into daily. So let's say you're working 5 days a week. Take $2,500 divided by 5. What is that? That's $500 a day, right? So now you say to yourself, okay, did I do $500 today? And you discipline yourself to do $500 today. So you work till the end of the day, no matter what, you've got to hit your $500. Now that might be a sales call. That might be selling something extra. It might be figuring out how you can sell a painting or a product or something to someone else. But you've got to make sure that you hit that goal every day. If you miss the goal, if you miss your $500 goal, now the next day you owe $1,000, because if you don't hit that goal, then the next day you owe $1,500. If you miss that, by the end of the week, now you owe $2,500. You missed 2 weeks in a row, you owe $5,000. You're never going to hit your 10,000 number unless you hit your goal daily. This is how this is done. This is how the pros do it. They break it out. They set goals for themselves. But wait, there's more. Now, we talked about financial goals, but there are other kinds of goals too, right? It might be a travel goal, it might be an accomplishment goal, it might be a book you want to do. There's a lot of different things. So you have to ask yourself, what are the steps to every goal? If you take every goal and you break it into steps, let's say it's, I want to write a book. Okay, how long is it going to take to write a book? You've got to say, all right, is it going to take a year, 2 years, 5 years? Let's say it's going to take a year. Now you got to say, all right, how much do I want? How many pages do I want in that book? And if I want to get the book produced in a year, I want to get it done in a year, and you're starting January 1, well, you've got to say, okay, how long does it take to find a publisher? Let's say that takes 3 months. All right, write down 3 months. How long does it take to get the book laid out and designed? Well, that takes 3 months. All right, now you know you've only got 6 months to get it written. And beside that, you have to get it edited. So how long does it take to get it edited for layout and design? Let's say that takes a month. Now I know I've only got 5 months left to write that book, right? So what do? You say to yourself, okay, how many pages do I need? How many pages do I need to get done every single week? And break it out, just like we did with the money, break it out into little steps. And if there are steps that involve other people, you got to write those down. If you take every goal and you break it into steps and then micro steps and you put a timeline to it, how many days, let's say the book is to write, I need 60 days to write that book. And how much can I write? Can I write full-time 60 days? No, I can only write 2 hours a day. So now I'm going to break it out to 2 hours a day. And you say to yourself, okay, now I have to have a discipline. How am I going to get 2 hours a day? My friend Roy Williams tells me when he writes books, he never can find 2 hours in a day. So what does he do? He gets up 2 hours early, gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and writes before work. And he does it every time, so he never misses the discipline. So what you've got to do is find out what your goals are, break them into little micro bites. If there are other people involved and you're going to rely on other people, you've got to break those into micro bites and who's involved and what do they need to do. If you're an artist and there's an art gallery involved and you need to get them involved in your decision process, call them up, say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. How much time will this take? And then put it into your plan. If you put a plan together, just a simple plan, it doesn't have to be too complex, you will nail your goals every time.